Now we're going to begin the new shir. Remember, we're discussing this idea of Ava de Chazkas Abasa. The Eibishter made Seder Ishtalshalos through Tzimtzum, and Torah the Eibishter is kvetching himself, so we should kvetch ourselves in return, and we should not put anything before Avodas Hashem. You know, when you say these words, it sounds so easy and so logical, but you know what? To put the Eibishter before Isha Bonim is not poshut at all. That's what the Rebbe is saying. The Eibishter kvetched everything for us, we should kvetch ourselves back. So the Rebbe, this business, the Eibishter kvetching himself in Tzimtzum, and we should therefore kvetch ourselves, explain. Tuv Tam Vadas, a good explanation and reason of Takon, as a comment to the Takon of the Chazal. Shetiknu that they enacted Birchas Kriya Shema, we should say the brachas of Shema, Shtayim Lofanei V'chuli, 2 brachas before and 2 brachas after. As they fit Mezach, right? They did. You find like Gemara Sheva V'Yayim L'Alticha. You make 7 brachas. In the morning 2 and 1, and at night it's 2 and 2. Right? And this is a Takon of Mashkan Sagdela. But then I say to say Krishma. Why is Valam Eresh Nechem Tafta Yayim Alav Avecha V'Shinantam goes on Krishma Bepashtas. Why is it to read Shema? And the Chachamim added brachas. The L'Cheira Ein Lam Shaychas Klalim Kriyas Shema. Meshikasav Rashba Shar Paskim. It says in Rashba and in other Paskim that the Teuchen, the content of the brachas of Shema before, which talks about the Malachim and the Mazolis, and then it talks about Hashem's Rachmanos on Yidden, and then after it's about Yitzias Mitzrayim, has nothing to do with Krishma. Krishma Rachmanos Hashem. The Lama Kalawais and Birchas Kriyas Shema. Why are they called brachas of Shema that have nothing to do with Shema and Achas Hashem? Lama Tiknoitz on the Fanad Afka. Why were they put before? Elamishum and the Teretz Lazeh. She'ikar Krishma. What's Krishma? L'kayim b'chol avavcha v'chuli v'gemet b'shnei terecha v'gemet. This is a rare case in the Kuti Amorim where it says chulu. It's for sure gemet. Usually these things are fixed. No, gemet is for psukim. Chulu is mamorech hazah. The Rebbe writes that koya masnisn v'lechein chulu v'legemet. The reason it has the lashon chulu because the Rebbe is not quoting the pasuk; is going on the Mishnah in Berachos to fulfill what it says b'chol avavcha b'shnei terecha. The Hainu, what's the pshat to love Hashem with your whole heart? Lame, to stand there, to stand in the way of anything which is an obstacle between you and loving Hashem. And what could that be? It means even your wife and your children, that you have to put the Eibishter before your wife and your children. A person's heart is naturally attached to his wife, goes without saying. The Gemara says, Hashem spoke and it happened. Who Isha goes on a wife. Who Tziva Yamid commanded and it stood up. Elobanim goes on children. So B'cholavavcha means your wife and children. What's the eye from this pasuk? Who Amav Vayei Tziva Yamid Zeisivish. V'nafshecha u'me'edechas k'mashmoi. Nafshecha means chaya and me'edcha means mezene. So B'cholavavcha, B'chol nafshecha, B'chol me'edecha would be Bon Nechaya Mezene. B'cholavavcha means your children. B'cholavavcha means your life, your health. And B'chol me'edecha means your money. To sacrifice and forfeit everything because of your love for the Eibishter. So that's what Krishma is about. You should declare Achas Hashem and love the Eibishter so much. How can a man who's in a material body, in a base body, let me do to this measure? For this reason, which is why before we say Krishma, which means Achas Hashem and V'yahavta. That because Hashem is one, you should love Hashem so much, you should put Him before your family, before your health, and before your guilt. If a person says, I can't do it, and the teretz is, read the brachas of Krishma. What's the bracha of Krishma about? Seder Ishtalshalos. Malachim, Chayes, Srafim, Ifanim, higher worlds, intermediate worlds, lower worlds. Look what the Eibishter did. He made a whole Seder Ishtalshalos. And it's all for what? For us. And this is called Ava de Chag Sabasak. The Eibishter is kvetching himself that it should reach us and we should return the favor. V'sham ne'emar v'nishna barichas. And the Bracha of Shema discusses and it repeats or explains at length Inyin v'seder HaMalachim, the idea and the order of the Malachim. Ha'olim de berum, understanding the heights of each of the worlds. And what are they busy with, the Malachim? Lahidiyah gedolos shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to inform and to announce the greatness of Hashem. And the Siddur describes Shekulam B'Teilim Le'edi Yizbach, to nullify to the light of Hashem. Umashmiim B'Yira V'Chulu, and they announce with fear Kadesh, or Magdishim, when they sanctify V'Chulu and so forth. V'Eimim B'Yir, they say with fear Kadesh V'Chulu. Kloimar. That means to say, Shehu the Eibishter is moved on Mehen, is removed from them. V'Einim is Labish Mehen, he's not revealed in them, B'Chinas Gilin, revealed where, but rather hidden from them. And nevertheless, Malak al-Ha'aretz Kevei, Kansas Yisrael, Lamayla, Yisrael, Lamata Kanal. Even though there are all these levels of Malach, in Bria, Yatir, and Asiyas, Rafim, Chayas, and Efanim, they say Kaddish. And where is Malak al-Ha'aretz Kevei? Kansas Yisrael goes on Yidin, the Makar of Yidin, Malchus of Atzilus, and Yisrael, Lamata, and it means Yidin down here, Kanal, we discussed before. Where did we have earlier this idea? We had it on Daf Samach Hebedaf, and Pedic, Memvav Amid Beis. Pedic Memvav, that means Samach Hey Amid Beis, page 130. You say Kulam Sheilim Ayem Akem Kevede, and they say Malak Ha'aretz Kevede Hey Yisrael Amei, that he near Hakadosh Baruch Hu and he Bacha B'Yisrael Amei. Over there he emphasized the favoritism. Over here he's emphasizing the tzimtzum. They're higher, closer to Elokus, and they don't have the experience of Elokus, and we do. The lower malachim called Efanim and Chais, which are less than Srafim. And I wonder why he says first Efanim and then Chais. And the Siddur also was Akasha. Chais is higher than Efanim. That they shout with a great roaring voice, Baruch Ve'Avayim came. They don't know and understand the Eibish's place. In other words, they're even lower than the Srafim, and therefore they're screaming. As they say, him alone. Hashem is by himself, his mother is exalted, Kaddish and holy. And when you consider that there are all these levels of malachim, and the Eibush is not with them, they say Kaddish, they shout Baruch, and the Eibush is with Yidden. So we see the favoritism the Eibush shows us. In other words, what's the point of discussing the first brach of Krishma? Yetzirah Meirei, say the Ishtashas of malachim, to bring out the Tzimtzumim. Hashem made all these worlds, and all these malachim, and it's not about them, it's about something else. The second bracha of Shema is Avaselim Avtana Deshem Alikeinu V'Geim. It shows that Eibishter loves us. And notice the word Alikeinu, our personal God, which is also mentioned in Perek Memvav. Claim what this means. Hashem abandoned all of the higher hosts that are holy. And the Hisha Shchinasa, and he caused to manifest his Shchina Leinu and us, Yesnikir Alikeinu, our personal God. Kamei Alekei Avram, Chuli like Hashem, the God of Avram, Kanal, we discussed Perek Memvav. It's a little bit pretentious, or a lot pretentious, or outrageously pretentious to say, my God, who are you? He's God of everything. Alekei Avram, the God of Abraham. It's also, even to say Alekei Avram is a pella. And Rashi says in Chumash, the Inakadosh Baruch Hu B'Yachad Shmeel Tzedikim B'Chayayim, he wasn't called Alekei Avram till Avram passed away. And every Jew says, 100 times a day, Elokeinu, my personal God. Kamei Alekei Avram, he belongs to me specifically, because he favors me. V'hainu, and the way a Yid, what is the answer? Because Saf Kol Saf, through that Shekhet Deshana, but Mitzvah, it becomes Elokeinu. Through Teir and Mitzvah, is our personal God. Ki ava de chakas abasa, the justification for this, so to speak, imbalance in priorities, that the malachim of all the Seder Ishtashlos are not the Eibish's favorite, so to speak. And we are, because the love of the Eibish causes him to kvetch himself, so to speak, to create tachtainim, and that's us, and to favor us, because we're doing Teir mitzvahs in this world. This is called the love that Hashem has, Elam, in the world. Now you guys probably know that there's two madrega called Avaselam and Avarabba. Avaselam is a finite love, and Avarabba is an infinite love. And in many kills, Kadishas B'Yisrael, they say Avas Elam by night and Avarabba in the morning. Second bracha of Shema, begin Avarabba. Why? At night is a more Helam, it's a lower madrega, it's a limited love. In the morning say Avarabba. We in Chabad, based on the Arizal, say Avaselam by day as well. And it's a pellet. So the vart is like this. There's a whole sugi in Chassidus on the pasuk Merachak ad Hashem nirali v'avaselam ahavtich. Merachak ad Hashem nirali. Hashem appears to us from far away. V'avaselam ahavtich. And Hashem loved it. It's called Avas Elam. And it says in Chassidus that the Avas Elam in this pasuk is higher than Avarabba. Avas Elam means a love that never changes. But here the Rebbe says, what's the diak Avas Elam? Avas Elam doesn't mean it's a lesser love, but rather it's the infinite love which affects that there should be a Naila. It contracts the great light of Hashem. Which is beyond purpose. That to manifest in a finite way, which is called Elam. So one type of Avas Elam means a love of Hashem because of the world. So we're loving Hashem because He created the world. Another type of Avas Elam is we're loving Hashem for creating a tzimtzum and for allowing us to exist so we can do Torah mitzvahs. This Avas Elam is higher than Avarabba. It's not that I'm loving Hashem because He gives me an amusement park, because He gives me sunny days, because He gives me candies and ice cream. That Avas Elam is lower than Avarabba. It's a love really of myself. And I love Hashem because He made my world. As opposed to Avarabba, which is a a kenus, a sincere love, a real love, an infinite love. Here, Avas Elam is the love of the Tzimtzum Arishin, and the love of the Tzimtzum of Seder Ishtashos, and the love of the fact that Hashem favors me over Malachim, Srafim, Chayas, and Efanim. I'm loving Him because of the Tzimtzum, so I'm taka loving Him because of Helam, but it's not that I'm loving Him for the limitation of the world. I'm loving Him for creating me so I can be His servant. So this Avas Elam is higher than Avarav. It's a different concept than Avas Elam. That Tzimtzum Eidei HaGodla built here Tachlis, Levshad V'chim V'ronik Elam. Ba'avur Avas Ama Yisrael, because of His love for His nation Israel. Kedei Lekarv may love to bring them close to Him, Likolol B'yechudi V'achdusi Yisbarach, to include them in His unity. Without Shakosov, as we taka say in the second Baruch of Shema, Chem L'Gedela, great mercy. The Yisera, an overflowing mercy. Pirush just means that at Yisera, Hashem's Rachmanas on us is greater, Al Kirvas Alikim, the closeness of godliness, Shakosha V'chot Samayel, all the hosts of heaven. In the higher world is Alakus. And Chem L'Gedela V'Yisera Chamalta, Aleinu. And we continue to say, Uvonu V'chata, you chose us, Mikolam V'Loshen, from all nations and all languages. Top of page Ayin Amar Aleph. Says the Rebbe, what does this mean? We talk about the Eibishter's choice in our physical body. That appears in its external form, the same as the bodies of Goyim. We can have Tanya when He brought us close to the Hoides too. We should acknowledge and so forth. The meaning of the word our acknowledgement that we discussed someplace else. What does that mean? When you think about the Eibishter's choices, and you think about the fact that He favors us, it's impossible to have sufficient gratitude for Him. First of all, we become Ein Sof because of Torah mitzvahs. Second of all, the Eibishter makes all these tzimtzumim and ignores the realms and worlds where there's more Gilei Elokus. For us, we're at the bottom of the barrel. And we become the Eibishter's people, and He is called the Likeinu Unzego. Right? Now, of course, on these words about the Rebbe, that the Eibishter's choice only in Aguf, there's a Shturim Nifle in Siches and in Chassidus. The Rebbe always makes reference to the Teira Sholem, where the Rebbe Rashab says, Ivanke, who should have chosen? Ivanke. But so in the Neshama there's no Bechira, only in the Guf. Ivan. Ivanke. Every guy in Russia is called Ivan, right? So Ivanke, he should have chosen Ivanke. In other words, of course he's going to choose Yidden, but on the level of the Guf, and not stam the Guf, the Chumriyas, he says the Guf itself, there could be a Chiddush, a Yiddish Guf, and a Goyish Guf. But the Chumriyas, the crude, basic dimension of Yiddish Guf is the same as Goyim. Zokman, for that's why He chose us. And all of this adds up to our Avas Elam. But over here, Avas Elam means not a limited love, but a love that is so infinite, dafke because of the tzimtzum. Verstehst?